大家好. In Chapter 3, we're going to talk about locations. Let's look at our vocab. 一,学校。二,图书馆。三,哪儿。四,在。学校 is a location, it's a place, specifically a school. Remember, we've learned 学 before. 学 means to learn, like 学生, like 学中文. 校 is just a, it's kind of like a place, so it's a place of learning. 学校。你喜欢学校吗？我很喜欢学校，因为我喜欢学中文。你喜欢什么学校？你喜欢 Stevenson 学校吗？史蒂文森学校吗？我很喜欢这个学校。学校里有什么？我们可以说有图书馆。图书馆，我们的学校的图书馆叫什么名字？叫 Wycliffe's 图书馆，对不对？这是图书馆。图书馆有什么？图书馆有书。图书literally just means books or picture books. All right, so it's another place for 馆 is place, so it's a place or like a kind of an establishment for books. 图书馆 the book place, literally. Now that we know these different locations, 学校 and 图书馆, I might ask, well, where is it? 在哪儿? Right, this is the way to ask where in Chinese. Now, there are a couple different ways to say where. This is probably a very common and easy way to say it. This is a typo, excuse me. In fact, let's make this comment that don't confuse nar, right, or the na in nar with na, which we've learned before means that, like 那个女孩子很漂亮. But na means where. All right, and the addition is you have the addition of this mouth radical in front of na, third tone, na. Because you're asking for directions, for example, with your mouth, na. Okay, and I would add the We've learned this before, like everyone would say sure. It doesn't mean anything. It just adds makes it a little bit more colloquial. Makes it sound a little bit cuter. 这是你有事吗? And then you add the sound to 这是哪儿? 这是哪儿? I could say 这是哪里? I mean, that's another separate expression. But for this one, especially in a spoken context, you're asking somebody a casual question, you would often just say 哪儿?这是哪儿? Right? 这是图书馆. 这是学校. Also don't confuse nar with 这儿. 这儿 means here. 好. OK, 问你像这是哪儿? 这是美国. 这是中国. I can also use the location. This is our major grammar point of this lesson. We can use the preposition 在. All right, 在 is used when you're trying to describe the location of things. And the structure is, this is a very important word order that needs to be memorized. The prepositions in Chinese, right? Any prepositions, including this one. This whole thing here is a prepositional phrase, right? Preposition meaning at, in, on, with, by, for. These are all prepositions. All of these phrases in English usually go at the end. They go after the object. But in Chinese, it's very different. The preposition goes before the verb. It goes between the subject and the verb. It actually goes like time, subject plus time plus the prepositional phrase plus verb plus object. So in practice, it just means that the word order is different and that you kind of have to get used to that order in Chinese. Let's look at some examples of prepositions, prepositional sentences using 在. For example, this question, 你在哪儿睡觉? Okay, 哪儿 is where, right? It's a place, it's location. And then I would say, at this place, you at this place sleep? Where? Right, you at where sleep. Instead of saying you sleep where, you put this prepositional phrase before the verb. Let's look at another example. 我的书在哪儿? Where's my book? 在那儿, right? 你的书在那儿. 你在哪儿工作? 我在这儿工作. And here we see that the object, the verb here is to work, right? And then again, the prepositional phrase goes before the verb. 你在哪儿工作? And then the answer also, again, there's another, the verb is still 工作, and then the prepositional phrase, the location goes before the verb. 我在这儿工作. Here we have another one. At this university. In English, it goes at the end of the sentence. In Chinese, where does it go? Before the verb. 我在这个大学, this university, 学中文, study Chinese. Another one, at home. And when you translate to Chinese, move it before the verb. 我不喜欢在家看电视. All right. Or 电影. Now, the general rule here is, if you remember time, you want in Chinese, you go from a general event to a specific event. And a similar kind of concept holds for locations. Well, why do locations go before an action in Chinese? And the reason is because you want to give a general context for an action. Chinese is very contextual. So you always want to describe the context before you reveal the actual action that happened. You want to give a context to the action. So in this case, the verb, for example, is watching a movie. Okay, so but you want to first explain that, you know, you're watching it, for example, on Sunday, and you're with your friend, and you're at home. You would say all these things in a sentence before you reveal the actual action. You're giving them you're building a context for when this action is happening, right? You're kind of, it's just almost even giving details about the topic before you reveal the action. A lot Chinese works like this in a general conceptual way. And if you understand that, it's easier to understand why the location will generally go before an action in a Chinese sentence. All right, let's look at one more example. 你在哪儿吃晚饭? All right, here we go. We have the at where do you eat dinner? And you say 我在家吃晚饭. 我在图书馆吃晚饭. 我在学校吃晚饭. 好, that's our vocab and grammar for today. 谢谢大家的收听.